hope you are all having a beautiful Sunday. I had a big plan of something I wanted to do with y'all today, but listening to worship this morning, it gave me some ideas of something I really wanted to share with you. So I apologize if this is a little off the cuff, as they say, but I wanted to know, have any of you ever heard the story of Miriam? Miriam had a very important job. She was Moses' big sister. So in our story of Moses, we always hear about all the amazing things that he did. He parted the Red Sea, and he led people back to God, and that he was raised up as an Egyptian, but that he didn't start as an Egyptian. But how did he get from a baby in a basket to freeing all of his people? Well, there was someone very important, and that important person's name is Miriam. See, Miriam was somewhere between like 5 and 7 years old. So kind of the same age as some of my friends today, or a little bit younger, like your younger brothers and sisters. And she had a really important job. She was babysitting Moses. I know a lot of us have done babysitting. It doesn't feel like a big important job all the time. And it can feel kind of boring or kind of plain. But hers was extra important because at this time it was super dangerous for the Jewish people to have babies, especially baby boys. At this time, the Pharaoh was having all of the baby boys killed. So Moses' mother hid him in their house and didn't bring him outside until he was like 3 months old. And then she couldn't hide him anymore. So what she decided to do was take a basket and she tarred it, which means that she put a waterproof lining inside the basket. And she put baby Moses all wrapped up cozy in the basket, and she put it on the river and had it float away. And this is where Miriam's job gets really important and probably pretty boring. As Miriam watched the basket to make sure that her baby brother was safe, and she watched it float all the way down till it reached the kingdom. This way, the queen would find the basket with the baby in it. Now, this was a pretty big risk for the family to take, but Miriam watched them take the baby out, and she was so excited. She was like, I found a baby. I think anyone would be pretty shocked if they found a baby in the river. And Miriam popped out of the bushes and she heard that the queen said she was going to keep the baby and raise it as her own. And she had told those that worked for her, her slaves, that that's what was going to happen. So Miriam pops up and says, would you like me to find a Jewish woman to help nurse the baby? Because the baby needs some food to eat, right? So Miriam gets the okay, runs back home and tells her mother. And Miriam's mother is then paid to help raise her own baby in secret. Now, if Miriam hadn't done those things, if she didn't do what seemed like a boring job of watching a basket in the water for hours, we wouldn't have this amazing story. And who knows what could have happened to little baby Moses at the time. But she used everything that she had, all of her inside strength, all of her bravery, and she popped up and went for it. And that reminds me of something you can do. So even if something that we're doing is really boring or doesn't seem important, we have to remember all the time that God has this big picture for us. And we have important jobs, and all the things that we do in our life, they bring us on our path. Every decision that we make, everything we decide to do, even if it's the same boring stuff sometimes, changes how we are going to reach God's plan for us. So I had an idea for a craft for us today. So, are you ready to get some materials out? Okay. You're going to need some wide clear tape. I like packing tape for this. A paper plate. Some tissue paper in whatever colors you like. And a pair of scissors. Optional, you will need a hole punch and a string. Ooh, are you peeking? All right, should we get started? So first, we have a whole circle. This is us. We have a good job to do, but do you see anything on this plate? Is there anything in there? No. So what we need to do is get in here and make room for God. So he should be in the center of us and take up most of the space. So now we have our body. Let's get God inside of it. With your tape, you're going to get a piece that's long enough to at least stretch across the whole of the opening. But I find that it helps really stick on if I bring it over to the edge so that it overlaps. So the sticky side will be on the printed or indented side of your plate. And you're going to keep on putting all of the slices of tape. Slices was a weird word. Strips of tape. There we go. Strips of tape all the way across. I find that it really helps to overlap them. And then you keep going until it's completely solid but clear. Once it's completely clear, you'll see that this side is not sticky at all. It's just totally see-through. Right? Now let's fill it up with all the gifts that God gave us. So think of as many things as you can as you put these pieces down, and you can cut out shapes. You can cut out strips. This one I did hearts and triangles. And remember that when the light comes through, just like with our stained glass in our beautiful churches, the colors will layer up, get darker if you have a lot, or mix together into different shades. I want you to think of all the wonderful gifts that you have been given, all of the things that you can do, that you can share, that make you who you are, because you are so important. You have so much to offer this world and this church and this community and your schools. There is nothing about you that wasn't created with a perfect purpose. And you can keep growing, and you should keep growing in God's love and what you're good at. But listen to your heart as well and run after those things that interest you, that call to your heart, that say, yeah, that feels like me. Because if there is something that's calling to your heart, God wants you to answer it. He can only push you in the right directions. He gives you all of these skills, all of these abilities, but it's up to you to unlock them, to be proud and to run after all of those wonderful dreams and things that you want to be and see and say and do. So if you, like Miriam, have something that's in your heart that's saying, I need to do this, pop up with those ideas, because you're important and your big picture is not known yet. You can go so many different wonderful, amazing ways. So you have to listen to the God that's inside your heart. Let his light shine through you. I love you all so, so very much. And I hope that you have a wonderful, blessed weekend.